So,
but they keep trading the stars away. I mean, they did, as Mark said it. They did Barry Sanders the same way. The Dolphins, I guess, tried to approach them and wanted to buy his rights so he can come out of retirement, and the Lions, that Ford family, just wasn't having it. And also, by the way, the results of our poll, Twitter said 60% of the people on Twitter said that McCoy signing with the Panthers makes them a Super Bowl contender, but 60% of the people on Instagram said it didn't. So that was kind of interesting because it was like the opposite way when everything first started. But yeah, when it comes to the Lions, they're cheap and they don't like paying people, and they clearly don't do right by their stars. They clearly never have. They clearly won't learn. They're probably going to do Stafford even crappier.
yeah.
Stafford's the greatest quarterback in the history of the Detroit Lions. Say what you want. But for a dude who put up with everything he put up with, coming out of Georgia, he could have easily been Jay Cutler, but he changed it around. Had Megatron, was forced to get better after Megatron left. Man, you gotta.
And basically, the poll was pretty much like, I think it was 100% on Instagram and like 80% on Twitter who said he should get his money for Calvin Johnson. So shout out to all y'all who voted in the poll. I also dropped that in the chat. If you want to continue to vote, the polls are still live. On that note, man, the real controversial poll this week. Our throwback face-off, a follow-up to basically last week. Keith Bullock versus Keith Brooking.
Don't you say his name wrong. You say it again.
Keith Bullock.
Keith Bullock.
Keith Bullock. It's two U's. It's two U's.
You said Bullock.
I said
He's
Keith
not a
Bullock.
Dragon Ball Z character.
I said Keith Bullock.
They're going to play it back.
Keith Bullock with two U's.
You called him Bardock.
Versus Keith Brooking. Outside linebackers. Falcons outside linebacker versus Titans outside linebacker.
Keith Brooking was a middle linebacker most of his career, by the way.
No, he wasn't. He was actually a will linebacker.
He was a middle linebacker.
No, he wasn't.
Do you want me to go? I can look up.
No, he wasn't. He was an inside linebacker.
Inside, middle.
Not the same thing.
Fam.
He was an outside linebacker when they played the 4-3, and when they moved to a 3-4, he was an inside backer. Like we just talked about with Luke Kuechly, there's a big distinction.
He played inside when they were.
Holy shit.
Who was their middle linebacker then? Because he played middle linebacker when they were in a 4-3.
They had
Don't snap.
old dude who went to the Raiders and the Saints.
Not Justin Durant.
Coleman.
I don't think that was it.
Yeah, they did.
Coleman, that doesn't give me a lot. My recall's pretty good, but they had Mike Peterson, and he came and left.
Yeah, they had Mike Peterson, too. I forgot about him.
They had Justin Durant, I think, but they drafted him. The only linebacker for that defense.
Bro, it's on Pro Football Reference. He was not a middle linebacker ever. He was an inside linebacker and outside linebacker.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just saying, in today's defense, what is he?
He's probably an inside linebacker full time.
Thank you. That's all I'm saying.
But I don't know. He was pretty quick. He was pretty fast.
He was quick and athletic and fast, yeah. But Keith Bullock was a different kind of dude. And he had a bald head with a headband on.
And he didn't play as long. He only played for one team.
That's fine.
And he robbed someone. So let's just throw that in there.
Okay. We all robbed someone at some point in our life.
We've all robbed someone. Yeah, you robbed me of my time with your weak ass rant sometimes.
I meant like literally like rob somebody. But I mean, you do what you got to do. You feel the way you got to feel. But whatever. He got injured, and let's be real. Let's talk about those Titans teams with Keith Bullock on them. He was their best linebacker. You had him, and you had Marcus Washington, I think, who played for the Colts. And then just a revolving door at middle linebacker. Kyle Vanden Bosch, he came and left. Hainsworth came and left.
But yeah, so far.
Rowan VY, he suffered under Jeff Fisher. Like, he went from Derek Mason, Steve McNair, Eddie George, and Drew Bennett at receiver to freaking Billy Volek. And Drew Bennett being the number one receiver. And Ben Troop.
But yeah, so far on Twitter, it's 50-50. Bullock, Brooking. There's about 25 votes there. And on Instagram, it's about 80-20 in favor of Bullock, and there's about 10 votes there.
I told you.
So it's still pretty even, though.
And what?
And there's still about half of the day left. So
All-Purpose Podcast. What did he said?
Things can still even out.
He said Brooking was that guy who attacked you 8 yards down the field. He was that guy. Bullock was an actual playmaker, and he was.
I mean,
and he's perfect for today's
like you
NFL.
talked, but I think that's kind of what we talked about last week, though. Too is there are different roles in the defense.
He was better. I think he was a better player.
Brooking was more of the anchor, and Bullock was more of the playmaker because Bullock didn't have anybody else around him, except for Javon Kearse.
He had to make plays, and they left. They all left. Like those Titans defense after the Super Bowl, they just all left. And he held it down for as long as he could. And then he got hurt. And then they cut him. But yeah, Keith Brooking played in Dallas. I like to forget those years.
And Denver.
I really like to forget that.
All right.
That was some trash.
And to preview our next poll for next week's, basically a conversation we've been having off air pretty much for most of the part of the day. Who was the bigger draft bust? That's the key word to this question. Not who was better, not who had a better career, not who was better in college. Who was more of a bust in the NFL? So that means you got to take into consideration their expectations when they were drafted, coming out of college, what they did over the longevity of their career, and their legacy.
And if their careers coincided.
And their legacy. Who are these two players we're talking about? Darren McFadden, out of Arkansas, Raiders, Cowboys running back, and Reggie Bush from your Legion of Troy to the Saints, one-time Super Bowl champion, Detroit Lions, Miami Dolphins,
and then Detroit Lions.
And don't forget your 49ers.
He sued them and won in court.
Because he got his job took.
No, because he slipped and fell and tore his ACL in a shitty stadium.
As a punt returner. As a special teamer.
Hey, how many cats can do it at his age?
As a special teamer.
How many cats can do it at his age?
So, don't worry. We'll be having that come up on TDs_tangents, Twitter and IG coming up soon. Who was the bigger bust? Reggie or McFadden? I'm going to say it's Reggie because Reggie was supposed to be the greatest running back of all time. He only had 2,000 yards rushing season. And
you forget the year he had like 984 too.
Okay, fine. 3. McFadden had 3. He was drafted number 7, not number 2. / almost went number 1.
Hold on, did you just say that? Did you just say that GFE, that gross factual error, that he was taken 7th overall at Arkansas?
Wasn't he?
Oh, now you fucked up, son.
Where was he taken?
He was drafted 4th overall.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Reggie was drafted 2nd overall.
Yeah, you're right.
You want to talk that shit now?
Yeah, you're right because I always get it confused with Michael Huff was drafted number 7.
Yeah, and Huff was never mind. We're not gonna. Stuart Schweiger was better than Michael Huff at one point.
So do you want to make your case for why Darren McFadden is a bigger bust than Reggie McFadden was?
Simply put, Reggie Bush was the reason why USC was relevant. And if you take Reggie Bush off all those USC teams, they don't even make any of the national titles. Actually,
that's not the question. Holy shit. Once again.
I know. I'm just saying. Reggie.
You're making my point.
No, I'm saying.
You're saying he's the best player on arguably one of the greatest college football teams that ever existed.
And when he got to the NFL, he was horribly misused and handled. He wasn't in the right...
Which makes him a bust.
No.
Which literally makes him a bust.
He wasn't bad. They just didn't use him properly. Like, if the Saints had Reggie Bush in 2019, Reggie Bush was a better talent coming out of college than Alvin Kamara. We can both agree on that, yes? Yes.
Again, you are making my point.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
McFadden.
He was a bust.
McFadden was seen as a can't-miss prospect. Like, yeah, he's not very agile.
But he was not supposed to be the greatest running back ever, like Reggie Bush.
Reggie Bush was seen as one of the greatest college running backs ever, one of the greatest USC running backs ever. But they knew
how many running backs go number one?
Not very many, but that was a different
exactly.
era. Bro, you really gonna talk? What Cadillac Williams and Ronnie Brown? Ronnie Brown went what, second overall?
Yeah. Okay,
then you're gonna confuse Ronnie Brown.
Do we want to throw them into this conversation as well?
We can make it a four for all. I can argue that Ronnie Brown was
biggest bust.
No, Ronnie Brown was better than all of them. Cadillac Williams messed up his knee too early.
Ronnie Brown had like
5,000 or 6,000 yard seasons. I think.
I don't know about that.
At least 4.
I don't know about that.
He was good in Miami. All I'm saying is this: Reggie was horribly misused as a player in the NFL.
All you're doing is excusing him being a bust.
No, I'm not excusing him. I'm not arguing that he didn't live up to expectations, but I'm saying he was
Ronnie Brown only had 1,000 yard receiving.
Wait, what?
1,000 yard rushing.
Seriously?
Yep.
What the shit?
He only had one. He had 900 yard. You have to remember he split carries with Ricky Williams a long time.
Oh,
in the back end of his career. Damn, I bet you didn't even know he played for Houston.
I
knew he played for San Diego.
You don't count that he played. Wait, no.
He played for Houston. I knew he played for San Diego. I knew he played for Philly.
Bro, I remember Philly, but we're not counting
team.
We're not counting San Diego and Houston for Ronnie Brown. The dude didn't even really play.
Yeah, exactly. So he only played 7 years.
We're not counting that.
He only played 7 years in Miami.
Carnell Williams played with the Bucks, and I think that was it.
Yeah, that was it.
But
he only played like 5 years.
His knee. But anyway, with McFadden, he was seen as the franchise savior for the Raiders. He was a great running back who they said his skills will translate directly straight to the NFL. And
they did. He just got hurt.
Nah.
He just kept getting hurt.
Michael Bush was a better running back than Derek.
He just kept getting hurt.
Michael Bush, and you and I both know this, was a better running back. And they didn't pay him at the last second, and he ended up getting hurt, so it worked out. But McFadden was supposed to be the better running back than Reggie Bush, because they even tried to compare
Darren McFadden played one less season than Reggie Bush, and he started 30 more games.
On Reggie Bush, Raiders.
Reggie Bush had
Bush
had like 1,000 receiving yards more and like 10 receiving touchdowns more. But overall, their rushing yards are about the same. And McFadden had one less year and was hurt.
Are you going
probably more than Reggie Bush?
You can't count. I'm not counting.
And let's also not forget that Reggie Bush was basically a running back committee for most of his career.
He was never actually allowed to be in a starter until he got to Miami.
And
when he got to Miami, he rushed almost 12.
I wonder why. Maybe because he was a running back by committee at USC as well.
Nah.
Let's talk about it.
Oh, really?
All right, yeah.
No, we can talk about it.
All right, man. Either way, that poll is coming up, so we'll let the people decide because we're not gonna agree. So let's let the people decide who is the bigger bust. McFadden
a couple
or
of good
Bush?
years with the Raiders, and I'm not counting his good season with Dallas,
bro.
The best offensive line in football, bro. I'm not counting that year.
You're talking about when he rushed for 1,000 yards
with the Cowboys. Anybody could have done that.
Nah.
That was the best offensive line in football.
He rushed for 1,000 yards in like half a season.
You're smoking crack. And Ezekiel Elliott rushed for how many yards his rookie year? Damn near led the league. Oh, he did lead the league in rushing. Like 1,600 yards rushing.
Oh, yeah, but when I was saying that, you weren't saying that. But okay. And it's not like Ezekiel Elliott didn't do that at Ohio State. But whatever, let's move on.
Ezekiel was a better college player than Dan McFadden.
Let's move on, man. Touchdown or turnover?
My goodness, I'm still pissed. You really gonna stop slandering Reggie Bush like that?
Side note, he used to be my man. I have his jersey from. I have his jersey when he used to play the New Orleans Saints because my birthday's November 25th and his number is 25.
That's cool.
Then once I found out he was with Kim K at the time, I had to dump him. I had to leave him.
I sent some bitterness over there.
It just wasn't gonna work out, you know.
I mean, he has a new wife. He has a
that
wife
look
and
just
family.
like Kim
That
K.
just looked
so,
just like Kim K.
But
again,
isn't she
it
married